feel gives Jason Voorhees that staying power, and what do you feel that you guys have contributed to such a long franchise?
Well, I mean, I think any of us that have played the character in any of the films was probably a fan of the character before, as a viewer. And in my case especially, there had been 6 different films before and that I had enjoyed watching. And you can only imagine, you love a character in films and then you're in the position where you're gonna be that guy. And it was incredibly surreal, really, when I did a movie called Prison with Rennie Harlan, and John Beekler was doing my makeup effects, and I played a character just for 2 days with heavy prosthetics, 3.5 hours of makeup, and Beekler liked how I performed in the makeup, because it's not easy, especially when stuff is glued on and everything. It's a challenge, and he enjoyed how I did it. The following year, he was hired to direct Friday the 13th Part 7 and started insisting that I play the character, which he had quite a battle with Paramount because I wasn't known at all, and he just kept saying, just trust me, you're gonna like how he performs as the character. And eventually he convinced them. I did the movie and then was lucky enough to be asked back 3 more times. But the one thing I noticed about Jason for me in the previous films was that, and sorry if you've already heard this story, but whenever Jason was motionless staring at someone, I thought it looked like a mannequin, because there was no movement at all. It's trying to be intimidating. So that's when I came up with the breathing thing. I was just looking at a mirror and doing things and picking out little movements that I thought worked. And I think that's kind of a thing that people talk about that I added to the character, was more of a threatening, about to explode type of motionless acting. So it's harder than you would think, and a lot of people that don't have their voice or their facial expressions tend to overact with the physical stuff, and then it looks kind of phony. So that's what I tried to do.
It's actually kind of funny that Kane says that, because in our industry, the hardest thing to do as a performer is nothing. And that's what people do. They tend to stand there, even as actors, when we listen, like as human beings, as we listen, when we listen to people talk, we tend to just really just watch and listen. And most actors have a hard time with that by doing nothing. And so I agree with Kane. Like that's what I always enjoy all about all the Friday the 13th. And I don't know exactly how many people have played Jason, but to be able to play the stillness of him, it would be difficult for sure.
Building on what you're saying about why we like Jason, I think my view as a horror fan to other horror fans, I think the lasting power of Jason and the iconic imagery that we all have with him is because ultimately he's a victim, though he's a mass murderer, which we don't ever do that. Bad murder. But then it pretends,
unless it's reasonably warranted.
And if you can cover it up.
My friends, the murderers, awesome. But no, ultimately Jason, in my opinion, is an ultimate victim. We understand why he does what he does, but also for a lot of us as horror fans, what's so special about this community is that we're different than other genres of fandoms. I don't know if it's because we felt like we're outcasts at certain points or not liked for or accepted for what we like with horror films. But that's also on a side note, which is so special about these cons. When you come to a con, like we're with our families now, and we're with our packs. Where I've literally seen people in line go like, "Oh, you like Michael Myers? Oh, me too. All right, we're friends." And they hang out later on, so there's no bullshit. So tying into Jason, I think we kind of relate to him, going like, "Oh, we get it," and that's why we tie on to what he's doing. Though we're like, it's wrong. it's a kind of a catharsis to us going like, we understand where he's coming from, the humanity. So that's why, also, a round of applause for each other. Like, this community is like no other community. Like, the way we love and support each other. Like, thank you so much for coming out and joining us.